Hello and welcome. This is Eagle Eye 621, and what you see behind me is a massive rail duplicator. This machine is capable of producing over 1.6 million rails per hour. That's 450 per second. It will fill your inventory in less than 4 seconds. Now, this machine is probably overkill for what you need, so I will go through a slightly smaller and more reasonable single player version of this. Now, this is because in my last video, which was the carpet duping video, and as you can see we are in my carpet duping world, I had a couple of people ask if that design was capable of also making rails, and it is not. But there is this design that does work. This does work in 1.15, and indeed it does work in the current snapshot, as you can see at the top of my screen. So I will show you how to build this. We'll talk a little bit about what these rails are and the equivalent components that you're saving from a machine like this. And I will, of course, take you through actually building a slightly smaller version that does expand to be this big if you want. But before I do that, I do have to say that most of you are not subscribed. If you could take a moment to hit that button and ring that bell, it would be greatly appreciated. And also, YouTube has given me a join button, so if you would like to support me in that way, it would also be greatly appreciated. So now let's take a look at what this machine is, and let's take a look at the components and some stats. First, I will turn it on so you can see it in action, and this is 45 of these individual duping components, which is how you get that over 1.6 million, and it is 1,620,000 per hour, which is 36,000 per hour per slice. So you can see I can turn this on, and if I very quickly back up so that we don't have the slideshow from everything going on, you can see that the game is starting to lag a little bit. Now I get a little bit further away. This actually doesn't lag when my software isn't running, but only if you turn it off relatively quickly. The issue is not the machine itself. The issue, of course, is the massive numbers of items that are being generated, which are taking up a lot of processing power. So a machine like this, you don't want to run for long unless you have people that are standing on all of these different components. And you can see I don't have anything in my inventory right now. And if I just sweep across the top to try and grab a couple of these just from the ones on top, you can see that my inventory is more than filled up. And in creative mode, when you gather more items, they just delete themselves. And I didn't scratch the surface. There are all kinds of rails all over the place, causing all kinds of havoc, and just crazy amounts of items everywhere littering the world. And I did not even collect from the rows that are under here. So this is a tremendous amount of items. If you even wanted to approach a collection system, you would need 180 hoppers to collect it all. Although this design does not lend itself well to being collected, because a significant number of the items will land on top of the slime block arms. And unless you set up a rather complicated system to move the arms out of the way every so often, then you really have to collect most of these manually, or you're going to try and drive yourself crazy. And something like this is fast enough to set up that you really don't have to worry about the massive system. You can see just a tremendous number of items. So now let's talk a little bit about the equivalence, and I have a nice handy book here to help out with some of that math. If you don't really care and you want to get the tutorial, you can just skip ahead a couple of minutes. So as I said, this machine does generate over 1.6 million rails per hour, which is 450 a second. It will fill a chest in under 4 seconds and your inventory in just over 5. That's 36,000 rails per slice. These are the build materials, and I will get to the actual tutorial in a second, but if you want to take a screenshot of that, you can. Now, in terms of resource equivalence, this is how you can generate what these rails are saving you. So if we look at something like the powered rail, for example, it takes 6 of these gold ingots, as well as a redstone dust and a stick, and that will give you 6 powered rails. Something like this detector rail right here requires 6 of these iron ingots with a redstone dust and a pressure plate, and this pressure plate takes 2 stone in order to make. These regular rails are a bit cheaper, with these 6 iron ingots and a stick getting you 16 instead of the 6 the other recipes generate. And this activator rail right here requires 6 of these iron ingots as well as 2 sticks and a redstone torch. Now this torch requires 1 stick and 1 piece of dust to generate. So in terms of our per slice resource savings, which is what this resource equivalent means, the powered rails, if you're making them, one of the arms, that's not that whole machine, that's just one of the arms, saves you 36,000 gold, 6,000 stone, and 6,000 sticks. The detector rail saves you 36,000 iron, 12,000 stone, and 6,000 redstone. Of course, that stone is for pressure plates. While as for the normal rails, you're saving 13,000 and a half iron ingots, as well as 2,250 sticks. And for your activator rail, you're saving 36,000 iron ingots, 18,000 sticks, and 6,000 redstone. Of course, some of those sticks and the redstone are for the torches. In terms of the machine totals, this machine per hour, as those other statistics were as well, saves you over 1.6 million gold if you're generating all of the powered rails, and over 250,000 redstone and sticks. That number for detector rails is over 1.6 million iron, as well as over 500,000 stone and 250,000 redstone. And for the rails, it's over 600,000 iron, over 100,000 sticks, and the activator rail is 1.6 plus million iron ingots saved, as well as over 800,000 sticks and over 250,000 redstone. And that is the resource saving equivalence from running a machine like this. Now, in terms of how to make it, these are the materials as you saw in that book that I just saw. Let's grab a copy of this and try and go away from all of that, which does spread out quite a bit. And let's put it down right here and get to building. Now, you don't want to go too far off the ground with this one. You want to go a little bit off the ground, and the reason is because a lot of the collection is going to be manual. So let's start over here. We may run into some items, but that's okay. And let's go 3 off the ground. Break that. And then we're going to come out 4 and 3. I'm actually going to go in the other direction though, just like that. We're going to put our lever just right there. Our comparator, make sure that's on subtract mode or this won't work. We need a redstone repeater pointing in the other direction. And then put our 4 bits of redstone dust. You do want to make sure that this repeater is on 1 tick, the original tick. Now we can put our sticky piston just like this. We're going to put 7 slime blocks. 1, go down now for the second one. And then just keep going out. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to put our fan right there on that block. And then you can pick any 4 rails or any combination of rails of your choosing in order to duplicate those rails. So I will just use a combination of all 4. Just like this. And you can see already, if we turn this machine on, it is duplicating your rails. The reason you didn't want to come too far off the ground is because when you're in survival mode and you can't fly around, you're going to be stuck here on the ground. You can just run around this machine, get punched every so often, and collect all of the rails like this. And even though it's only 1 arm, you can see that it does start to fill up pretty fast because this is 36,000 per hour. The machine is expandable and you can expand it to your taste. So I'll drop one just like this, and we'll do the same thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Grab that fan again, and this one I'm just going to make all powered rails, just like that. And very quickly, we have another arm generating another row of rails. So these two here combine for 72,000 rails per hour. Now, in terms of the original design, I believe I first saw something very similar to this from Doc M77. I will put a link to his video in the description, but it's not clear to me whether he was the person that originally came up with this coral fan fix to some of the older Rail Dupers. If any of you know who was the original creator and it was not him, please do make a comment so I'll be able to add that person to the video as well. Now, in terms of expanding it even further, all you need to do is expand out this redstone line. So you can do it like this. Just have one line going across, and every other you can slap a sticky piston to. And you can also go on the other side and the edge. Now, if you want to be able to cram it in as much as possible the way I did, then you do need to go down one and up one in this nice little zigzag pattern so that the arms under here won't grab on to these arms. You can see there's just enough space coming in here to not get stuck together, because they all expand at the same time and the slime arms will not hit each other. Now, I got a bunch of questions about whether this works for honey block in this video, in the carpet duping video that is. The answer was no, and the answer is the same here, because you can't stick these fans on honey, so you would need a different design if you wanted to use different materials. These machines, as you can see, are set up relatively fast and can be broken down, so you can generate as much as you need when it is that you need them, and this will generate more rails than you can reasonably place, so you can just have one of these machines running in the background while you're doing your massive rail placement. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate a like, maybe even tell one of your friends. And for more videos like this, do be sure to subscribe. Thanks for stopping by.